Hey everyone, in this video I wanted to point out some of the differences in the Wizard's Companion books that were available for both versions of Ni no Kuni. I haven't found any information online or seen any videos of others having already done this, so I figured I could go ahead and give it a try on my own. As you can see, here I have Wrath of the White Witch, available on the PlayStation 3, and the Jet-Black Mage, available on Nintendo DS, but released only in Japan. I actually made a video that did a page-by-page comparison of both books. However, it turned out to be much too long, and I had second thoughts about it afterwards because the information in both books is relatively identical. There are some differences, but there weren't enough differences to really warrant a side-by-side comparison. But some of the differences I wanted to point out are just minor ones with the spells. I can mention something about the familiars, but I won't go too far in depth with that. And the world map. So as you can see, here are both books. The one on the left is for Wrath of the White Witch, and on the one on the right is the one for the Jet-Black Mage. The covers are nearly identical. There's just a difference in the script, and same thing goes with the spine of both books. But beginning with spells, for Wrath of the White Witch, you'll see each spell is dedicated to a single page. For the Jet-Black Mage, some spells actually share a page, but they're all there. Same exact spells. However, if you look at Evenstar for Wrath of the White Witch, you actually receive that spell immediately after, well, maybe not immediately, but after defeating Shadar. And in the Jet-Black Mage, you'll see that it's a connect the dots puzzle. And if I remember correctly, I think you receive this spell from as one of the riddles for the Ghost Mage, that little boy that you find in each town and you have to solve a riddle for. I think this is one of his last riddles. He gives you a series of numbers, and then you have to try and connect the dots, since in the DS game you actually trace the runes in order to activate them for the first time. But another difference with spells is in Wrath of the White Witch, Mornstar is a brand new spell. In the Jet-Black Mage, you'll see that it's not even in there. The last spell, I think, is that Forbidden Resurrection spell or something, and that's where it ends there. Next is the familiars. As I said, I'm not really going to go too far in depth with this. I'm actually not going to spend much time on this at all. I actually posted a video previously that has me skimming through the pages of the familiars for the Jet-Black Mage, and what you can do is you can just go through that and compare those with the Wizard's Companion for the Wrath of the White Witch to see the differences. There are some familiars that are exclusive to the PlayStation 3 game, but there are actually a lot of familiars that were available in the DS game that were completely omitted from Wrath of the White Witch. This isn't really a difference between the books, but I just wanted to go over this for those who who perhaps don't know about it. But on the page of the Wizard Wars, if you check this page out with the in-game Wizard's Companion, you can zoom in on certain parts of it and you'll see small video clips that show the location or show a rare familiar, and then you can just sort of figure out its location to go and tame it. I don't remember how many are on there, but I think if you zoom in here, in this area, here, here, and here, there might be another one, I'm not entirely sure. If you zoom in on them, you'll see a short video clip of those familiars, and you can go and look for them. One difference that I'm actually pretty disappointed in, this is actually part of the game as well, is in the Jet-Black Mage, you have this page here. This picture is used to solve riddles in the dream world, and the dream world is actually a location that you could visit whenever you stayed at the Cat's Cradle Inn at towns. Sometimes you'd be, it was a random occurrence, but sometimes when you stayed there, you would be transported to this world, and you would use this page to solve riddles in that world. But in the Wrath of the White Witch, this page was completely omitted, and you don't even have the dream world in the game. So I was pretty disappointed in that. However, one GameFAQs user actually mentioned that you can find this picture in the Wizard's Companion in-game. And I actually found that on... So, I think it was page 258. Yes, page 258. If you go to page 258 in the in-game Wizard's Companion, you'll see a section for the Cat's Cradle and a section for Strange Dreams. If you zoom in on this picture down here onto the painting, you'll actually get that Dream World picture there. So that was kind of a neat little Easter egg, I suppose. So thanks to that person for pointing that out to me. That was actually really neat. And then one of the biggest differences between the games, as far as I know, is the world maps. Here's the world map for Wrath of the White Witch. And then here is the world map for the Jet-Black Mage. As you can see, the map is actually quite large, larger than Wrath of the White Witch, and there's even a few areas that weren't even available in the Wrath of the White Witch. Notably, this area down here, and then this area down over here. So as you can see in Wrath of the White Witch, you have the Fairy Ground Tahiti down there, and then the island that was over here is just not even there. But in the Jet-Black Mage, more areas were available to visit. For instance, the island over here. This is actually where the casino was located. It had its own little town. And as opposed to Wrath of the White Witch, where you would find the undead casino inside the, what was it, the Tombstone Trail. Then this island over here, what you'll notice here is this right here. This is Xanadu. It was actually a visitable location in the Jet-Black Mage, whereas in Wrath of the White Witch, it was just mentioned in passing that that place was destroyed like a few years prior due to Shadar. And there was also a smaller town somewhere down there, and then you also had a cave over here. Another difference with, well, in the story is the pirate hideout over here. In the Jet-Black Mage, if I remember correctly, it was actually a dungeon, and you would finish that up, and that's where you actually fought the undead pirate captain in order to get one of the orbs to rejuvenate the wand that you were at that time. And in Wrath of the White Witch, I think it was you just found a ghost ship somewhere in this area, and then you just fought the pirate captain. It was a bit of a disappointment that they just completely removed an entire dungeon from that. And then Nazca over here, which is actually part of the story in Wrath of the White Witch. I think in the Jet-Black Mage, it was just like, I think it was only accessible in the post-game. I think it was just like a very difficult and large dungeon. I never actually tried it out, but I think that's what was there. It wasn't actually part of the main game as far as I recall. And the only other difference would be the Nazcan script in the back. As you can see, it's a 2-page spread in order to compensate for the Japanese characters. And it was only 1 page in Wrath of the White Witch for English. And these are the only differences I really found in both Wizard's Companions, so if anybody has any other information, then please feel free to like mention it. But overall, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you enjoyed the games. If you happen to have the desire to import the Jet-Black Mage, then I can tell you now that it is a very easy game that is very import friendly. If you're not fluent in Japanese or know Japanese at all, it's still a fairly easy game to play since it pretty much points you in the direction you need to go. And there's some guides that you can find online as well. But if you have the desire to play that, go right ahead. I actually consider it one of the best DS games. It is a fantastic game. So anyway, thanks a lot for watching.